Yeah, it is fun. I mean, you've been in a couple of my dreams, but you always play in this. It's always you're always in like a college. Like in a hallway or something. Because I guess I have the image of you talking with your professor. Like that image is still stuck in my head where you used to talk up to your professors as you left the class. And so my brain always puts you in that environment. That's the only environment I can. So far you've always been in like a hallway or a
Okay.
corridor. Oh, whatever.
Well, I
Wrong
think I
room.
think I
Wrong
think
number
your
there, girl.
your role in this dream was also, similarly, somewhat appropriate but weird in a dream way, in that you were way out there, very rural. That's why I was wondering, how do you get internet out here? But and I was stuck. I was trying to get out of the place, which is sort of a recurring dream, exploring some area. And then you had this house, like not on the beach, but like, within a quarter mile of the ocean. And it was hard to get out, and yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it's funny what your brain does.
There's no explaining it when you wake up and wonder, what the fuck is my problem?
I think the dreams are really cool. You know, what they do. I mean, they're basically our brain going through the process of going through all of our impressions in this really strange way that like strengthens different connections and stuff. You know, that's why if you study something right before you sleep, you learn it better because it goes through that process immediately and is more strongly incorporated.
Well, they say that, but I don't know. I don't know if they've really proven it. Um, but yeah, I look at dreams as being practice. That's what I call it. It's just life practice. Your brain is genetically we're just taking advantage of the downtime, because we don't want to get eaten by all the monsters out at night. And so your brain is just giving you practice, and there's no point in having it practice what it's already done. So it tries to mix it up a little. It fucks up with the game a little, so you have a new experience. So you learn something new in a sense, but it's close enough to your reality where the monsters are still there. They just have a different shape and a different size, so you have to react to them differently, and you have to learn through that process. So I see it as like it's good life practice. It's life. It's a life simulation, and it's distorted because you're going to get the most out of it if it's distorted. You wouldn't get as much out of it if it's routine.
I think the most
It's
understandable.
surprise is where you learn the most, and that's why it surprises you. I just want to bring up the one thing about the dream thing is that the dream that was the most elaborate I had about somebody on YouTube was that amazing atheist one. And it was just so fucking intricate, because he lived in this house and people are suspended from the ceiling, and it was all kinds of bizarre shit going on. And it was a little bit perverted. It was like there was mattresses everywhere, and like Christopher Seven was lying on a mattress, and he was like a heathen, eating grapes and shit. And it was just so fucking bizarre.
Well, I think the truest part about this dream, as far as what relates to what I could understand, was that, okay, there were all these people. I have these dreams, and everybody's always like off in some weird place, and then maybe there's a contest, and then everybody filters out, and I'm like still there. And the truest part was that you were kind of bitchy that I was there and I couldn't get out, and yet we were talking about interesting things. I don't remember what. And you were like, you were totally non-welcoming in one sense. In another sense, you're like, well, you obviously need to stay in from the rain, and so you were letting me, would let me stay in this beach shack, which was like, it was nothing special by some people's standards, but to me it was like, oh, this is awesome. You live right here, and so that was the most I could understand that part, because that relates a little.
Sorry, I didn't notice that until it was already far along, maybe. Um, anyway, kind of rude. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah,
Hey,
dreams are.
You mentioned Christopher Seven. He just made a video. I don't know if he's been making them and I missed them or what, but he made. Oh, who was it to? Well, I forget now. But anyway, just since you brought up Christopher Seven, I really like that guy. I mean, he's one of the people I respect probably more than anybody else. I mean, top 5 people who's worth listening to whatever he's going to say.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I haven't seen a video of his in a long time. I have to check out his channel. But yeah, I mean, I like him, but we have style differences, I guess, or whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, I have the same opinion. He's got a very thoughtful, disciplined, approach to. He takes any conversation seriously, and that's really, you don't find that in too many people. He doesn't talk out of his ass.
Favorites was when Hardcase, or whatever he was named at the time, tried to talk to him in a serious conversation, and yet he had no other way to talk except for the ponage thing. And Christopher Seven just totally, I mean, I thought just demolished him, in the sense that Christopher Seven actually had something to say, and Hardcase showed that no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't really, maintain an actual conversation. But yeah, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, their style just didn't match there. Yeah, you just really can't. Ponage is, Christopher Seven just isn't. He's just not a great target for it, because he's really not gonna. He's not gonna. Even if he loses, he's not gonna acknowledge it. I mean, he's that kind of disciplined person. I mean, he just doesn't incorporate it into his mythology of approaching an argument, I guess, is the way to look at it. Because, yeah, I saw that as sort of a draw. I mean, the two styles just didn't match at all. I mean, they both made points, but they both won some points.
Another thing about that is that, people have said that, and it's like, you can dream about anybody. It doesn't really matter. If you're viewing some image, no wonder that you reuse that image in your brain. But I have never, ever dreamed about anyone on YouTube. So, in that sense, I was just shamed.
Well, yeah, I'm glad I got to you. In the name of YouTube, I have broken through Pyro's brain. I was the little sperm that could break through the membrane. It's funny. Yeah, I guess I dreamed so much that it seemed quite sensible that I would start dreaming about this stuff right away. Uh-oh. Well, okay, it's back. Froze. Maybe the room is going to blow up or something.
I should be dreaming about Chris or something. I mean, what the hell? Can't I choose this? Can I write a list? I mean, nothing personal, Gary, but seriously, I mean, there's some other options, but no, fucking subconscious.
Yeah, well, that is a problem. Yeah, it is kind of hard to, force the issue. Yeah, it's always weird for me with women in dreams, because they change identities, constantly. I'll start off with somebody who's sort of like somebody, and then they'll turn into somebody else, and then they'll turn into somebody else. They just keep morphing, which is kind of different.
I almost never dream of real people. I mean, they're usually some amalgam, and maybe they'll look like somebody else, and I'll think of that they're somebody I know. It is kind of the closest thing.
Yeah, now I duplicate people pretty well. I mean, you were exactly like Pyro. I mean, you were Pyro in my dream. You're just Pyro.
Yeah, bitching at a professor. That's right up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, the Amazing Atheist was the Amazing Atheist, except he was in a big tunic thing. He's doing the whatever Roman and diapers thing.
What was he saying? I mean, what was the context of all of this? Was he stupid? Or was
yeah, I'm trying to remember. I mean, I remember there was a waiting line, and I was in this waiting line, and then you somehow invited, so I had a ticket, so I got into the, Amazing Atheist Palace or whatever the fuck it was, and, and yeah, I can't remember. Like, we got along. It's not like we were fighting with each other. And so that was the weird part, is that I was kind of just falling into his world, I was just falling into this world of gluttony and debauchery, and you know, so I was finding it all quite agreeable. But it was just so intricate. Like I said, the thing that stuck with me was just the fact that the beams and the ceiling and all these different little, you know, just the detail of all that kind of stuff was just amazing. The physics of it.
I know exactly what you mean. One of the most vivid dreams for me is a memory right at the end of the dream. I'm face to face with a doctor, and I can see every detail of his face, his eyes, his mask, and the warmth in his eyes. And then all of a sudden, he says to me, "Wake up," and I wake up, and I don't know. There's no logical reason I should remember that as vividly as I do, but I just do.
Yeah, well, you remember, so I remember the train fucking dream. That one's going to stick with me for a while. So, yeah, if the dream gets a little too out of control, you're going to remember it. Well, I've had some great escape from New York dreams.
People
just, you know, just
hanging from the
ceiling went
ceiling
on forever.
is totally, you pegged him right there. I mean, I'm just convinced that you have realistic dreams.
Yeah, it really was like Apocalypse Now, Galiglia. Let's see, what else can I just throw them all in there? It was really bizarre.
We're talking about The Amazing Atheist for a moment. It's so funny. I was watching him, and I haven't been watching him for a long time, but I watched the bully thing, and just the slow panning and all of this, the low watt, high filmography kind of. I cannot, Cody has. I don't like his stuff necessarily, his sentiments of his filmmaking, but he has an aesthetic sense. He has a talent. And that he would use that he would move somewhere and use that to film The Amazing Atheist is that's the saddest fucking thing on YouTube, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the saddest fucking thing on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seemed very predictable to me. I mean, Cody's got a, he masks it, but he's got a huge ego, and, he's got to have recognition. And this
but evidently not huge enough. Come on. Film,
but this is the road. This is the road. He's got nothing where he was. So it's nothing or something. And so he's going to sell out. I mean, that's all this represents. I'm sure in his heart he knows he is sold out. And he's done it quite deliberately. I mean, he doesn't, he thinks he makes better videos than The Amazing Atheist. That's his honest opinion. I mean, he doesn't think TJ is the greatest video maker. I mean, so he's not doing it for TJ, he's doing it for Cody.
But I mean, there's so many more things you could do. I mean, look, a young guy from the South or wherever he's from, this guy could move to Hollywood, probably at least become a cameraman or something.
Well, I think he had aspirations of doing that, but it's the money thing. Look, the guy's life has always been a mess. He's never been able to, plan anything a week ahead. So this is somebody else is providing him the road, and so he's going to walk the easier road. I mean, I can see that making sense. I mean, he doesn't have a dime to his name or any of that kind of crap. I mean, it's starting over in Hollywood. I don't think he has enough confidence for that. He is young, and that'd be a bold move.
Look, a young meth head can have anything he wants in L.A. If he doesn't know that, then that's the sad part.
The streets are paved and, Cody prostitutes and shit. I mean, come on. I mean, it ain't that, I'd almost think he had a better chance in New York. There's a lot of art.
Well, sure, probably in New York, yeah, with art film and violent porn and things like that. But wherever. But to follow The Amazing Atheist and do this, I will make it look like it's a vlog, but I will pan slowly. I mean, it's like, I'm wondering, how the hell is the camera moving? Oh my God.
Well, it's just kind of a pitiful, and to do it in such a, whatever the right word is for that, marketing, sense, for, this artificial drama, this, you know, yeah, let's zoom into your face, and we'll